Hi, I'm Bridget. Welcome to my kitchen where I help busy families eat better with wholesome and delicious recipes. Today we're making that perfect fall dessert, apple crisp. Only this version is a little different because we're adding cranberries. Apple crisp was one of my favorite desserts when I was growing up. I always loved the soft tart apples and the crunchy topping. My mom has always topped her apple crisp with a combination of butter, brown sugar, and rolled oats, and it's just like an oatmeal cookie. Apple crisp is such a simple, satisfying dessert to make. Let me show you how. To peel my apples, I just use a vegetable peeler. It makes it go quickly, and it means you're only removing the skin of the apple and not a bunch of the flesh. For this recipe, we'll use 5 to 6 apples, depending on their size. Firm tart apples work best for apple crisp, but you can really use just your favorite apples or a combination of your favorite apples. Once your apples are peeled, you can just slice them right into a medium-sized casserole dish. You could core the apples first before slicing, but I find it just as easy to slice them right off the core. If you have any bruises on your apples, you can just cut those out and put them in the compost. Best not to use them in your crisp. So this casserole dish will take 6 apples worth. And really, if you have a larger dish, you can just add an extra apple or 2. If you have a smaller dish, you can use fewer apples. But this apple crisp will serve 4 to 6. So once the apples are all sliced, then we're going to top them with half a teaspoon of cinnamon and half a cup of molasses. Molasses adds a nice savory kind of sweet, and it adds a beautiful rich caramelly kind of sauce to the apples when they're cooked. I'm going to toss this around just a little bit. Once the molasses is mixed in, I'm going to add 1/2 a cup of fresh cranberries. You could use frozen cranberries also. Spread those around a little bit. And then I am going to dab this with about a tablespoon of butter. Now that the apples are ready, we can mix up our topping. To make the topping, we are going to combine 1 cup of flour and 1 cup of rolled oats, not instant, either old-fashioned or quick cooking. We'll mix those around a little bit, and then we'll add half a cup of brown sugar. Now this isn't packed brown sugar, it's just scooped in. You only pack your brown sugar into a measuring cup if the recipe specifically calls for the brown sugar to be packed. Once that's combined, we're going to add half a cup of soft butter. So let's add the butter. And this has been softened, so it'll be easier to incorporate. I use a pastry blender to mix my butter into the flour and oats. You could use your hands, you could use a couple of knives, whatever works for you. We're going to mix this in until the butter is about pea-sized. We don't want the mixture to come together like a cookie dough, so that's why I'm cutting it in instead of putting it in a food processor or mixing it with beaters. So we're just going to spread the oatmeal mixture over top of the apples. It'll create a nice thick crust. You want to make sure that the apples are completely covered with the topping. We'll bake our apple crisp at 375 for 35 to 45 minutes until the apples are soft. Because our apple crisp is bubbling, I know that the apples and the cranberries are cooked. The apples are nice and soft, and there's a rich caramel sauce that forms in the crisp from the molasses. It's still nice and hot. For dessert, you can serve this with ice cream, but it really doesn't need it. It has so much flavor on its own. And I know my son loves to eat apple crisp for breakfast. This is such an easy dessert to make and great for a family meal, but this version with the cranberries is extra special, so you can serve it at special occasions. Making apple crisp is a beautiful way to use apples at their peak. We'll be sharing more seasonal recipes, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching.